every time I look up, I see your people here, there, and everywhere out there telling and selling the Richmond story.
We have a very strong team, and it's funny because they are on the road all the
They
time.
are.
They were just in it was Las Vegas for them last week for an entire week, and there were 17,000 people at this convention of destinations trying to bring in conventions and tourists, and we were represented with our team there. And again, it's every single week we're on the road.
And so my partner, Danielle Fitz, she was just, where was she, in Little Rock or something? She was somewhere in the Midwest.
Little Rock, yes.
And so you figure you guys are out there all the time telling the Richmond story. You said 60 months before to come back from the past 16 months. And I asked everyone, when are we back? I remember asking Ravi Patel, when did you know you were going to come out and be okay with during the pandemic? Because hotels never slowed down. I'm like, really? We thought the world had ended. People were still taking their kids out there on travel baseball and stuff, or cheerleading.
Well, it was Governor Northam who changed the sports tourism because, here April, no one was traveling in 2020. But in July, he had said, well, the kids can go back to travel sports, but the parents cannot go to the games. And so all of a sudden, we were the recipient of other tournaments that couldn't take place on the East Coast that would come to Central Virginia because we had the facilities and but the parents couldn't come.
But you're saying, but once you get them here, that's the most important part.
That's correct.
When you get them here, it sells itself. Richmond is on a lot of the cool lists that come up. When you hear about Richmond close in the same vicinity as Paris, that's crazy. And when I tell people that, people are like, oh, what, Paris, Texas? I'm like, no. Paris, France. And people are talking that people have to come to Richmond.
So in 2020, before the pandemic, the New York Times ranked the top 52 world destinations to visit in 2020, and Paris was number 31 on their list. Richmond was 37. No, 39, I'm sorry, 39. So we were 7 cities away from Paris as a world destination, according to the New York Times in 2020. And the accolades continue to come in. We just, Hop Culture just named us one of the top beer destinations. The Red Door said we're a foodie destination. I just said travel and leisure, should we talk about the travel component? No, they said this is the place to live. So live, work, play, and visit.
Because you had told me, people don't know where they came to. They just came to Richmond. So they didn't know they were in Henrico and
Right.
Chesterfield. It doesn't matter. And as you said, you're out there working for everyone. New and exciting things at the Richmond Tourism. What else you guys got going on?
So what's interesting though is we just assessed a tourism improvement district. Now the funny thing is, for all 30 years, our advertising budget has been $400,000 to $500,000. Now we've got marketing monies of $8 million. All of a sudden, we're starting to compete dollar-wise for advertising with Charleston and Baltimore and Virginia Beach and Williamsburg. But we have not had an advertising budget. So what's new and improved is that we now will be able to advertise the destination like we've never done before. So this is like territory that I've never seen.
So when I'm at home and I see the California commercial, or I see come to Charleston, I come and I see those places. That's what they're going to be seeing Richmond. It's the commercials that you guys rolled out a couple months ago with Kelly and Tamara.
Right. But those commercials, you're not going to see them here.
We're going to see them there.
You'll see them actually, some of our teammates saw them in Las Vegas. We've had sightings in Baltimore, so it's nationwide we're advertising, but in Central Virginia, you're not going to see our ads.
And so that's one of the reasons why you have the things, which is basically the IM tourisms, those things to let folks who live in the area understand, because a lot of times we don't know what's happening.
True, and the other thing is what makes our destination so great is our citizens are ambassadors. And bringing family and friends, it's the number one reason people travel. It's one of our strongest components of travel. But when our locals become our cheerleaders, not only do they bring their family and friends, they bring their conventions and their trade shows and their hobbies. And again, it's a great place to visit and bring your convention.
It's always a pleasure, Jack. Thank you, sir.